there's a Gallup poll that shows that 28% of Americans believe that the Bible is literally true and should be taken as the literal truth. Are you one of those?
Yes.
Okay, I made a little list of the things that are in the Bible that if we took it literally true. Slaves must submit themselves to their masters no matter how harsh. Right off the bat, we're believing in slavery.
Well, this was a pretty spirited debate in the United States in the 19th century. And actually, what occurred then, the slavery of ancient Rome, which Paul was writing about, was a very different kind of slavery. It wasn't chattel slavery. It was usually a form of indentured servitude.
Oh, come on.
The fact is,
Ralph.
the anti-slavery movement.
Spartacus, come on, babe. We've all seen the movie.
Bill.
There's no good slavery. See,
no, I didn't say it was good. I'm not advocating it as a labor
system. But the Bible
I'm
does.
saying it was
the
totally
Bible
different.
is okay with slavery.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
and the anti-slavery movement in the United States came out of the churches. It was a product of the Second Great Awakening.
If a woman has,
and I talk about that in my book.
If a woman has sex before she's married, the men of the city must stone her to death.
All right. What? And Bill,
let's get a good version of that.
Bill, what did Jesus say when he was presented with the adulteress? And the people who wanted to stone her to death cited that verse. He got down on his knees and he wrote in the dirt, "We believe the sins of all those present." And he said, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone," and they walked away ashamed.
If the Bible's
that's in the Bible.
If the Bible's a perfect book written by a perfect guy, why is this part in there? If a woman has sex before she's married, why did Jesus need to come along to correct his dad? I don't get it.
Because humankind is fallen and is sinful, and we all fall short of the glory of God. So 400 years,
but
400 years after the Abrahamic covenant, the law was presented.
But I'm asking you about the Bible. It said that the people think the Bible should be literally taken true. And these are the literal words in the Bible from God.
Yeah.
I mean...
But Bill, you're ignoring the New Testament. Not one of those verses occurs in the New Testament. You're ignoring the New Covenant.
So the Old Testament, the Jew God, he's bad.
I didn't say that.
He's...
Bill,
but he said this.
Bill,
he said this thing.
Bill, Jesus was a Jew.
And a bunch of other crazy shit.
Jesus.
He said this thing. He said this. I'm quoting.
You're being very selective.
So
you're also.
But see, that's the thing. If it's perfect, why? What do you mean selective? All of it should be perfect.
But shouldn't all of it be perfect? Look at my point. You could just as easily cite the dietary laws in the Old Testament, which today's observant Jews still observe. But again, if you go to the New Testament, there's a new covenant that demonstrates that's not the path to ultimate salvation.
All right.
Can I just make the point? You're not going to get to heaven by observing do's and don'ts and rules. You're going to get to heaven by a personal relationship with God through his Son. That's how you get to heaven.
Okay, I just didn't know that that's how it worked. That Jesus had to come along to say to him, "Dad,
no,
your shit is whack." Ralph, thank you very much. I wish we had